Hi, everybody. So I don't know exactly why I've been having issues with my chat during the live streams, but the past couple of times I have not seen any comments as I've been talking. And then when I go back and listen to my live streams, I see that people have actually been in there. And so I apologize. I haven't been ignoring anyone. I literally have not been seeing comments. So I'm going to try to do this a bit of a different way and try to minimize windows and pop out the chat into a separate window and see if maybe that will make a difference. And then I'm not sure. So I apologize, but I literally have not been ignoring anyone. I just haven't seen your comments. So, but this topic actually came from one of my Facebook friends who messaged me about it earlier today, the concept of Mystery Babylon. And so hopefully she doesn't mind, but I'll say thank you to Robin. And this is a fascinating conversation, and it is one that people take way out of the bounds of, it's actually fairly simply explained in the book of Revelation in chapter 17 specifically. Basically, every explanation we need about this is given in that chapter, and there is supporting scripture elsewhere to give us increasing information. But the explanation about what this is actually found in Revelation 17. So I will read the question. Who do you think is Mystery Babylon? She watched a program, and the person said that they thought it was America, but she didn't know how that person came up with that. And here is my explanation. And this is taken solely from Revelation 17. There is no such thing as Mystery Babylon. Here's how I get there. There isn't actually a Mystery Babylon. In Revelation 17, it is called by three names: Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations. So this comes from Revelation 17:5. Upon her forehead, her, because this is the woman. This is the woman riding the beast. So the woman has three names upon her head: Mystery, comma, Babylon the Great, comma, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. There are three names that this woman is given. Mystery Babylon is not one of them. It is Mystery, and then a separate one, Babylon the Great. So Mystery Babylon is literally not a thing. And I realize a lot of people think it's a thing, but it's not a thing. So we don't have to guess about what this is. The Bible actually tells us, as it does, it explains the mystery of everything that it calls a mystery. It explains it. It tells you the meaning of this. And actually in Revelation 17:18, let's see, Revelation 17:7, the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman. Okay, so that's the explanation to the first of her three names, the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which has the 7 heads and 10 horns, because she's the woman on the beast. So he's going to tell the mystery of the woman. So that's going to answer the first of three names, mystery. In the last verse of the chapter, the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. What great city? The second name that she's given. That's the answer to mystery. She's a city. The mystery of the woman is that the woman is a city which reigns over the kings of the earth. Okay, which city? Go to the second name that she's given, Babylon the Great. Okay, so the mystery is that she's a city, and the second name tells you which city it is, Babylon the Great. And the description of what this city is the third name, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. This is contrasted with New Jerusalem, which is the city of God, the city which comes down as a bride adorned for her husband, the city of God, versus contrasted with the city that is the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So you have a city that is complete godlessness versus a city that is complete godliness. So those are the three descriptions that were given of the woman. The mystery. What is the mystery of a woman? I'm going to tell you what the mystery of a woman is. She's a city. Okay, so that answers to the first of the three names that she's given. So the city What city she is answers to the second of the three names she's given, Babylon the Great. And what this city represents answers to the third of the three names that she's given, everything that stands against God, contrasted specifically with New Jerusalem. So you can see in the language representing this woman in Revelation 17, contrasted with the language representing the other city in Revelation 21. I saw a new heaven and new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. There was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem. So you have Babylon the Great being contrasted with New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So that is the contrast being drawn to the third description of the woman, which is mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So that's what it is. And there's a lot of speculation about what this will be based on this idea of Mystery Babylon, which isn't actually a thing. Mystery Babylon does not exist. Babylon the Great exists, and that is the explanation of which city the mystery of the woman refers to. The woman, again, described in that woman which thou sawest is the great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So I, as much as I could, explained that. The imagery relates to the woman. The mystery of the woman is revealed in the last verse, that she's the city that reigns over the kings of the earth. Which city? Babylon the Great. The final description regards it as the city which is the antithesis of godliness, contrasted with New Jerusalem, which is God's city. When taking Revelation back to the Old Testament, it's clear from Zechariah 5, because people say, well, it's not going to be Babylon because, Babylon doesn't exist. But just because it doesn't exist now, and even people say, well, it's not going to be rebuilt because it would take many, many years to rebuild it into a hub. That's through our natural thinking. We have to basically throw everything we think naturally out of the window and understand this is going to be a supernatural time period. So looking at this through a natural lens is really not doing the prophecies justice, because in order to make them fit what we think, we have to make it something else, something that already exists that'll be used. And that's where people get into the concept of America or some other. America's not even a city, it's a country. And it very clearly says that that the woman is a city which reigns over the kings of the earth. So people have to do some really weird stuff to get their ideas to fit. And even so, they kind of just have to take everything out of context. Zechariah 5 very plainly tells us that Babylon, which is actually a transliteration of Babel from the Old Testament, you go back to Genesis 10 and 11, where the tables of nations and Nimrod and the mighty hunter before God, and he established the first worldwide empire after the flood of Noah on the plains of Shinar. So Shinar is where the Tower of Babel was built. So whether it's Babylon as we know it today versus on the plains of Shinar where the original Tower of Babel was built and will be rebuilt to be a hub, that's more likely what it is that it's not actually like Babylon today, modern Babylon in Iraq. It is probably where Babel was built on the plains of Shinar. And we know this because in Zechariah 5, it tells us that wickedness, the woman embodies wickedness. The mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. She is wickedness. And she will be established upon her base in the land of Shinar during the second half of the 70th week, once the kingdom moves from Jerusalem after the abomination of desolation and the flight of the remnant and all of that stuff. It moves to Babylon, and that will be the central hub of everything in the second half of the 70th week. We learn this from Zechariah 5. The angel that talked with me went forth and said unto me, lift up thine eyes and see what it is that goeth forth. And I said, what is it? And he said, this is an ephah that goeth forth. He said, moreover, this is their resemblance through all the earth. Behold, there was lifted up a talent of lead. This is the woman that sitteth in the midst of the ephah. And he said, this is wickedness. So this is Revelation 17 is going to be referring back to the contents of this prophecy in Zechariah 5 with regard to the woman and what the woman embodies, which is wickedness, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. He cast weight of lead upon the mouth thereof. And I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, there came out two women. The wind was in their wings, for they had wings like the wings of a stork. And they lifted up the ephah between the earth and the heaven. Then said I to the angel that talked with me, whither do these bear the ephah? He said unto me, to build it in an house in the land of Shinar. And it shall be established and set there upon her own base. So woman, wickedness, land of Shinar. Move that over to Revelation. Woman, wickedness, city Babylon that reigns over the kings of the earth. Literally, we don't have to guess about this. We don't have to make it about anything that it's not, because Zechariah 5 and Revelation 17 are really the only two places that you need to go with that. So then the destruction of Babylon, this city, and we're told that the beast and the 10 kings hate her and they burn her with fire in 1 hour. And they do this because God put it in their heart to do so. We learn about that in Revelation 17, and then the actual destruction of Babylon and the world's reaction to it in Revelation 18. This is pinpointed specifically in Isaiah 13 and Jeremiah 50 and 51 as last course of business before Christ comes back at the second coming. And the burden of Babylon in Isaiah 13 is probably the most specific reference to this sequence of events and the timeliness of it with regard to Revelation 16, 17, 18, and 19. It basically have a point in time reference to show how Revelation is accurate when you take it back to the Old Testament prophets. Isaiah 13:1, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the land that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones, I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. And this is the Revelation 17, 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, shall make her desolate, and naked shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire, for God hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. So they hate her and they burn her with fire, and they get together and do this because the Lord put it in their heart to do so. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gather together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of this battle, because he put it in their hearts to do so. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, every man's heart shall melt. They shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. He shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. So literally the destruction of Babylon is last course of business before the second coming. And you see this in Revelation 16, because we are told that after the seventh vial is poured out, there came a great noise from the throne saying, it is done. And then then there is a great earthquake, such as never existed, and it destroys Jerusalem, divides into 3 parts, I think. And then Great Babylon comes into the cities of the nations fall. And then Great Babylon comes into remembrance before God to give to her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And then there's that plague of hail, which is the weight of a talent, and men blaspheme God. They don't die, they just blaspheme him. Next chapter describes the imagery from Revelation 13, the woman, the beast, the 10 horns, 7 heads, all of that. Tells you what that is. Then you see the destruction of the great city Babylon. And then you see rejoicing in heaven over that. And then the salvation of the Jewish nation, and then Jesus comes back. So Isaiah 13 is probably the best point in time reference to describe the closeness of these events. But the destruction of Babylon comes after the 7th vial is poured out and before the second coming. It's destroyed in an hour, so you know how close that is going to occur to the return of Christ. So hopefully, if you guys were unclear about that, this provides a little more clarity for you. But Mystery Babylon is not a thing. It's mystery. I'll tell you the mystery of the woman which sits upon the beast. She's a city. Okay, what city? Well, Mystery Babylon the Great. Okay, cool. So then you go back to the Old Testament, and it tells you that we don't have to guess about what Babylon is. Babylon's Babylon. And again, Babylon in the New Testament is a transliteration probably closely related to where the original Tower of Babel was built on the plains of Shinar, because Zechariah's prophecy tells you that wickedness will be set upon her base. So the woman and everything anti-God will be reestablished upon where the original wickedness foundation was, in the plains of Shinar, in the land of Shinar. So there's nothing new under the sun. What was is what will be. And you go back to Genesis 10 and 11 to learn about that. And it doesn't matter because Jesus destroys them all anyway. So they can be really upset that he destroys the hub of all of their, their business, finance, all of that, because he's coming back really quickly after. So they don't have to mourn for too long. They'll have something else to mourn about. All the tribes of the earth shall mourn, for they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Yep. So they don't have to mourn about Babylon for too long. It's going to give them something else to mourn about forthwith. So if you have any other questions or comments or feedback, let me know. You guys have a good night.